You know, that might have been me when I moved my headphones cord around. That's on me, gang. Sorry. I being here have cursed the stream by my proximity.
I mean, come on. If you've seen anything,
Yeah.
From OSP, we know the audio glitches are very real.
Yeah.
We fixed it though.
All good.
Hello, let's try that again. Welcome everyone. 122 viewers, Jesus.
Yo!
I see you all as you are following, and all your first-time chat adders. Welcome everyone. I will not have time to thank everyone individually, because there are a lot of you, but welcome. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the follows, all the support. This is awesome.
This is great. Real quick, if any of you have your Prime Gamings,
you
should do that.
Look at these emotes you get.
Yeah, get the shinies. Use your Prime Gamings. Anyway, sorry, I'm
No.
interrupting the stream.
This is a great chance to do it. Because this is Lido History. I am Adam. This is Blue from Overly Sarcastic Productions. And as a Twitch stream, we get access to custom emotes. Every custom emote we have is 100% genuine marginalia made by real people from various places around the world. Mostly medieval, but the latest we have is a 19th century Ethiopian Bible.
Oh, yo. Oh, those are cool. Those ones are fun, yeah.
Yeah. Which is, what if the Virgin Mary had a Glock?
Oh my god.
It is truly incredible. So, if you want to subscribe, you get access. Following gets you 5 emotes. Subscribing at tier 1 gets you an additional 14.
It's a good deal. They're good emotes.
They're good. They're real good. So, all the support is appreciated. But, of course, all the follows and just being here spreading the word is also extremely appreciated. Anyway.
So, what are we doing today? What fresh nonsense do we have in store for us?
We have, soon, a whole bunch of New World.
Oh boy, I've been seeing some of the streams. I've been in chat watching along with the folks at home for a few of these, so I have somewhat of a background in understanding what's going on. But I have not played this. I've not been here for the playing of it, so I will be still somewhat new to this.
Yep. But first of all, I assume most people, almost everyone here, knows you far better than they know me, but just in case, do you want to introduce yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I am Blue from the YouTube channel Overly Sarcastic Productions. On good old OSP, we do a lot of videos on mythology, literature. History is mostly my corner of the web. And we talk a lot about... statistically, it's mostly the Mediterranean, but we go a little far afield sometimes. So we do history of a lot of different kinds of places, talking about cultural crossover and cultural exchange over long periods of time and distance. So the premise of New World being a game about what if all of the civilizations were in one place will be an interesting case study in how to do or not to do some good or bad history.
Yes, and there are some questions, of course, on if you will be able to catch the VODs. The answer is yes. They are on Twitch for 2 weeks, or I just put the YouTube channel in chat, where I also actually do video essays sometimes when I have time. I'm working on one right now that you would probably enjoy of, can we call the Roman Empire evil?
Oh, we absolutely can.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm excited for that one.
Exactly.
The Snow Vikings video is also very good.
Thank you.
That was a good one. I like the Snow Vikings one.
I think I was most proud of the Dark Souls one
I was
so
actually
far.
thinking about that while I was driving earlier today on my way over here. I'm like, Roman Empire, like, evil question mark? Shit,
Yeah,
hold on. We'll save it for the video essay.
Exactly. Actually, it's a lot of meta stuff. Ship of Theses, at Post Classics on Twitter, did a gorgeous thread on it.
Oh,
where they're like,
nice.
oh yeah, they super knew. They super knew.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh Jesus, 194 of you. Hello, everyone.
Wild.
Oh my god.
Holy heck.
Anyway, as you mentioned, you do mostly Mediterranean stuff. Do you
Mostly
want to talk
Mediterranean.
about? I mean, you of course have a classics degree.
I have a degree in classics. I am a historian by tangent, not specifically by training. My my education is in the classics, Greece and Rome, and taking a cultural angle on the world. So I have some friends who are like pure historians, who is like, I do like the history of this place and, you know, like narratives and stuff, and very like, you know, like history, but my approach was always more wide angle. So looking at literature, looking at philosophy, trying to understand culture as a whole thing, specifically within the realm of Greece and Rome. But of course, I'm also a slut for the Renaissance, so you know. But yeah, we'll see what things I know might come in useful here.
Conveniently, early modernism.
Oh boy.
Sort of. Without further ado, what do you say we get into the game and
Let's
we'll
get
continue
going.
talking about
Yeah.
YouTube and his online content creation? Yar.
Yarr.
Well, we start this hot nonsense.
All right, let's go.
Boom. I mean, we do not have an encouraging beginning here. Oh boy. So apparently this is the new update.
Wait.
That'll be a time.
Oh, is this our guy?
This is our guy.
Okay.
So chat, if you don't know, while I load in the background here, is that I am a monk turned duelist turned something. So that clearly makes me the most person here. But if you know nothing about New World, we are on an island called Aeternum, which is every spooky folkloric island off the coast, ever.
All of them, just one box all together.
Avalon? Yes.
Atlantis,
Spooky other
yes.
places? Atlantis? Also yes. The Garden of Eden? Definite maybe.
Oh yeah, hard pass.
At least one guy here thought it was the Garden of Eden.
I love the obelisk just shattering into infinity over in the background.
Yeah, that caused a lot of bad news.
Yeah.
Someone did an exploding,
Yeah.
and it made everything stop dying.
I also feel like because of just like iconography creep in video games, like after you see a Halo ring explode, that doesn't really do it for me.
Fair. Fair. Mass Effect 3 has the whole dang planet go boom.
Yeah.
After this, it's just like meh.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
It does look really cool. Looks the art direction in this game is great.
Yeah, right. I think this is a case of the game looks a lot better in person than it actually does on the VOD. Because that was a comment that we've seen a lot of. The game looks like graphically meh, but I think in person it actually looks pretty good.
It looks alright, yeah. I mean, art direction will get you a lot, and the choice to actually use colors can go a surprisingly long way. The game overall, in my mind, is like, it's like, it really feels like it's from 2008, like the good old days of like early MMOs and all the jank associated with.
Oh boy,
Oh.
Kappa Crab with the 5 gifted subs.
Oh wow!
Heck yes. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. And Blues has modified our emotes, so we have a very distressed looking owl from Southeast Asia that is now wearing cool sunglasses.
Good.
Absolute legend. Let's change our gear, you know? Chat, from what we've got here, we've got the insane looking rapier.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It actually looks rad. We've got a spear.
It's super rusted. You're gonna give yourself tetanus before you kill anyone else.
Oh yeah. We found this in an archaeological dig that
I can tell.
definitely was like real archaeology that we were doing and not just bizarre nonsensical tombs.
I also understand, like, it's gameplay, like, the weapon's gonna look like that forever, but, like, there's gotta be a blacksmith in town who can like, polish that thing up for you.
Nah.
Like, smooth out those jagged edges, take it to a whetstone. Man, is that a broom?
It's a fire staff. It goes boom.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just for carrying around the tiki torch. Well, hello. I'm glad you were here to just vibe. Jeez, there are so many of us.
Oh my gosh, we have broken 200.
200.
Welcome, everybody.
By the way, chat, this is officially a new record, so thank you so much. Let's see if we can push 250. I believe in
Let's
us.
go for it.
I believe.
Yeah.
This game deserves it. No, it doesn't. We'll pretend this game deserves
This
it.
stream deserves it.
Exactly. This is the way.
I would try to read the comments over in the laptop, but my eyesight is, like, only okay. And it's wait, heck.
I've got the power. Hold up.
Oh, you've got me.
Hold
You
up.
got me set.
Let's see if it connects. Come on. Come on, do it, chat. Do it.
Meanwhile, while
the
he's
phone
doing
is
that,
not connecting.
take a look at my ring. I got married last month. Isn't that fun? Woo! Okay, cool.
We'll see if that works. If that works, you will have chat there as well.
Sweet.
I don't know if it'll work. If not, we can always load up the stream there.
Yeah.
And it'll work. We don't need to put the chat in slow mode yet. It's just that there is a very long distance between the two people.
Yeah, no,
and my phone is
my vision
slow.
is only fine.
Better than mine. Anyway, let's see. What's the worst thing we can wear today? I think it's that. I think it's that. I mean, we've got to get truly egregious for the moment. We've got that. We've got that. Those are all pretty bad. I think we'll put away the giant stupid hammer for the time being.
Yeah, we used the giant stupid hammer on my stream last week.
Exactly, and I used it all of last stream for me too. So
Yeah.
I think that's enough giant stupid hammer for the moment. We'll put away the baseball cap. We'll put away the fish. I think we can just get rid of this one.
Yeah, we don't need pants.
We've got the same pair of pants right there.
Who needs pants in an MMO?
That one's actually quite good. We'll hold on to that in case if we need them. And then... yeah, I think that leaves us... We'll get rid of all the stupid refining reagents that no one cares about.
I haven't
all
played
the
an
crafting
MMO
stuff.
in like 15 years, and like, oh my god, how does anyone do this? Good lord.
Wait, this isn't a mission... What do you mean the mission... I made those. Those aren't mission items.
You're required to carry your furniture with you at all times.
The most eye-bleeding... I don't own any shields right now. Dragon Wolf, we will keep an eye out for that. But if we can get a truly awful shield, we will throw in a truly awful shield, but I don't have any right now.
Come on, connect me to chat.
We can just pull it up through Chrome, and then just mute the stream there and you can see chat.
Okay.
On that side. I also don't need 700 arrows. I think that's enough of those. How heavy are the strawberries?
10 pounds each.
There are 5 strawberries is 1.5 pounds.
Those are heavy strawberries, dude. Oh my god. Are they lead?
A full thing of corn is 0.3 pounds, but 5 strawberries.
This is 1.5 pounds. Oh my god.
You'll love to see it. Look at how much.
Kill someone with a parfait. Oh my gosh! Now, if I tap the stream, is it gonna start being really loud at me?
It probably will for just a moment. Let's.
Cool.
You can see chat right there.
I got it.
Perfect.
All right, we are great. Cool.
Amazing.
All right, I'm just gonna hold this here because I'm always bad at reading stuff at screens at a distance.
Perfect.
They're tungsten berries. Says Milky.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great seeing people from the Discord here in chat.
I know, right?
Depleted uranium strawberries. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. So I just realized I'm not strong enough to continue doing the main quest because there's a chunky guy in between us and where we need to go that wrecked me last time. So we're going to have to do some other stuff. So well, we're gonna head straight to the giant obelisk and see if we can't figure out why it went kaboom.
Sure, let's figure it out. Ultimate form of GMO strawberries.
Perfect. And yes, welcome to everyone. But to get us started, I guess, are you willing to talk about kind of how you got into doing YouTube stuff?
Yeah, totally. So let me put down chat here for a second. I feel like they're gonna go off on the strawberries for a little bit longer. Oh, wait, hold on. We have to check the weight of these cranberries before I get going. How much do these cranberries weigh?
9 cranberries, 1.8 pounds.
1.8 pounds. Oh my god. Oh. You can't put too much fruit in a bag. You're gonna start a black hole. Okay. Well, while we have wildly physics-breaking fruit here in our bag, it's part of Eternum's ancient magic.
Of course. Yes, definitely.
The isotopes got all fucky in the 1400s, and they haven't sorted themselves out since. Anyway, my experience doing historical content creation on YouTube started kind of secondhand because my friend, Red, who was doing this as a side project at the time, Raptora says, not only is this ecologically screwed, so is the stuff growing on it. Yep.
Yep.
Wanted to read the highlighted comment.
Perfect.
Red was doing this as a side project for funsies, and I joined in because even though I didn't have much of an interest in history before, I had a university course in my freshman year, back-to-back ones that were like so cool, so amazing, and so great, and I was like, oh my god, classics are so sweet. And I just changed my major. I was like, oh yeah, classics, great, fantastic. So I started doing videos about basically the things that I was learning in class because I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a fun little project, and Red and I were just doing it for fun. And then years go by, we get a larger and larger following over time. We start to get a little bit more professional about it, and then eventually, after we graduate from college, we start doing the YouTube gig full time. And since then, I've branched out beyond just regurgitating the things that I learned in class half-assedly, and have gotten a lot better doing research. I've developed a much more broader understanding of different periods in history. I've expanded my horizons. So even though my degree focus is specifically in the classics, I've done a lot of work with medieval Italy and stabby.
Exactly.
The Isles, Byzantine Empire, some history of various civilizations in Asia, and dabbling around in other bits and bobs and places. But I always feel most comfortable back in Club Med. So it started really as a project, as a hobby, and over time we refined it slowly, very gradually into something of a much more professional operation.
Yep.
I don't know if that was necessarily the answer you were looking for, but
it is a perfectly valid answer because, I mean, the full disclaimer is that you are the one who got me to start this, so...
True, yeah.
You know, it is all just friends of friends.
Yeah. Yeah, so all of this goes back to Red. I jumped on board, you jumped on board, got a bunch of our friends to do various things, and then we made this whole little community. So many of the people in here are members of the OSP Discord, in addition to many of the various spin-off servers and other communities like Luda Historians, obviously. So it's cool to see the way that the communities have grown and evolved over time. It's far beyond anything that I could have ever imagined at the start when it was just Red and I making our dumb little videos.
Amazing. Anyway. I realized I kind of like started to introduce Aeternum and then stopped introducing it.
Oh yeah, we got halfway through and then we got stuck on fruit.
True. Which, you know, fair. But this place has supposedly been settled definitely by Romans and Vikings and the Ming Dynasty. Don't ask. I don't know how.
Got blown way off course.
Actually, though.
Yeah, I mean, I bet. It seems like the obvious choice for the game's lore.
But also King Arthur has been here. But it seems like basically otherwise history works exactly as normal.
Yeah.
Like, literally everything else is the same.
It's just a sink. That, like, everything that got lost shows up here, and it doesn't affect the outside world, which I guess is honestly, it is a decently clever way to justify the existence of this island in an otherwise completely normal historical timeline as far as we're aware.
Yeah,
because
like,
we have a lot of, like, indications of various things, like Isaac Newton. Still, like, literally Newton himself exists. It's not just like a look-alike, you know, planet Earth. It's like, yeah, up until like 1750, like, timeline's pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, probably until 14 question mark.
Oh, okay.
Right, it seems like, basically, well, Columbus has not been mentioned yet, and I think that would be an egregious thing to do. Like, truly would be terrible, and they should not do that. But basically, instead of running into America, he ran into Aeternum. And so then he found in... It is also Avalon. And might be Atlantis. It's not super clear, they haven't explicitly said it yet. But,
Bookworm asks about if Zheng He got here, what stopped him from leaving. I don't know if he, like, specifically got here, but maybe it was, like, one of his fleet that got here or something.
There is a whole area in the late game that is Chinese themed, and so we
Yeah.
are going to get a Qing historian on.
Oh, nice.
Oh, good lord. Grass, you good?
Grass is selectively materializing for us here. But, yeah. Let's see. As someone who doesn't like stabbing people, do you have a recommendation
tensions,
for a
let's go.
historical game? Says Pat Scroller, who wished to redeem his message. Someone doesn't like stabbing people. What
Yeah, I mean, there is a whole bunch of... There is... Unfortunately, the dominant theme is that, but there's
Yeah.
some, like, going medieval as, like, a more survival sim.
Yeah. There's one game that I've been meaning to play but have not played myself called Arte Maecenas, which is basically you work as a like banker and art patron in the Renaissance.
Oh, perfect.
And it's like a 4X game, but instead of like
I love
like
it.
conquering territory, you just get like
Oh.
like I'm gonna hire Da Vinci for this one.
That
Fuckos.
sounds amazing.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play it and I obviously just never did. But it's really cool that it's like you can take these kinds of ideas of historical settings, but apply them to otherwise very innocuous games, where it seems like if you're making a historical game, you gotta kill people. I think the board game space is a great example of all the different ways that you can have games that are completely chill, where it's like, oh yeah, there's a board game called Concordia, which is just you and your friends playing as merchants in the Roman Empire, just setting up storehouses to get Tyrian cloth or Tyrian dye and amphora of wine and stuff. So I think video games there are some, but you got to dig for it. The board game space is a lot more rich for historical settings, because you get a lot of those Euro games that
Yeah.
are all historical.
Yeah, they are.
Mostly made by Germans, all fantastic.
Yep, literally every single one. So it's, I mean, I actually have an article in press right now about
Ooh.
Yui Rosenberg's A Feast for Odin. So, I have been
Nice.
thinking a lot about that in the past year or so.
Yeah.
And it is largely a case, I think, where it's not that there isn't, that violence, it's just, it's so far abstracted that it doesn't register as, oh yes, I am stabbing people.
Yeah.
But rather as, please don't. Thank you. Right, so it doesn't register as, oh yeah, this is me doing a violence, but rather this is just kind of part of the whole, part of the totally fine ordinary game space, and then when you dig into it, you're like, oh wait, we are absolutely enacting egregious amounts of violence in the background here without commenting on it.
Yeah. We have a couple questions highlighted from people asking about. So obviously this obelisk looks very Egyptian, but what other cultural implications do we have going on? We have like a little like Darth Nihilus looking guy over here with the multiple arms and things, but what cultural inspirations are we dealing with in this very obviously Egyptian-y looking building here?
An excellent question, and I wish I could tell you. That is unfortunately one of the big topics that we have revolved around in the past 3 weeks of Historians versus New World, because this is an ongoing series. This is not a one-off, where Blue is not usually here. Blue is the guest for this week.
Usually I'm in the chat.
But where I interview either a historian or someone who works in the intersection of history, digital content, and games while we're playing this. And one of the questions we wanted to engage, or I've wanted to engage with here, is what the heck is this, quote, like, super vaguely indigenous, everything, right? This whole ancient civilization is simultaneously super advanced, and, like, poorly understood, and then also is using maces and swords and spears, and they're like, wow, they truly didn't know how to use gunpowder or make good weapons. That's neat.
There's a lot wrapped up in this. I'm seeing some people commenting like, oh, it's got hints of Egyptian, Mesoamerican, Southeast Asian. It's like it draws on a lot of different things. So it's very much the most like difficult thing to pin down from what I've seen of this game so far. It's the most difficult to pin down. I would imagine by design.
Yes.
Because if they like name dropped one actual real world culture to be the indigenous culture, I feel like that would be a little bit of a danger zone.
Supposedly, the game got delayed because they did exactly that.
I mentioned this last time I was in the chat and I totally forgot to actually look it up, but I remember the original pitch for this game was a battle royale where one team is like European settlers and the other team is indigenous American cultures.
I despise that.
I don't,
Holy shit.
I don't have the citation for that, but I remember reading it and thinking, "Oh my God, bury this game right now! Don't let this ever see the light of day." And it was like over a year ago, so if anyone has the citation for this, please drop it in chat. Because I remember vividly reading about this on like Polygon or Game Informer or something, but I do not remember the citation itself. Yeah. I guess this seems like a tactical throw to just not even try and go for it and be like, oh, it's just it's a nothing culture. It's a little bit of everything and nothing in particular. Therefore, there's no one actual real world culture that is getting brutalized over millennia, eternally colonized over and over and over again by waves of settlers from all over.
Which, you know, is good, but at the same time. Oh god, ow. Oh. Oop. Problems. Oh no.
Autosol has a link from a Polygon article from 2019. New World Game MMO Impressions Preview Colonization Controversy. That might be it. I can't read it now because I've got the stream pulled up, but if anyone wants to take a look, I think that article in chat is the one.
Oh god, I'm so slow. No. Don't be there. Stop it. Stop it.
Oh my god, the inverse kinematics on your character are so bad. You run so much faster than your movement speed. Your legs are going, but it's like you're on ice.
Zoom.
You take 2 steps for every one that he moves.
Okay, we killed all of them. Maybe
Oh
this is not where I wanted to be.
Beautiful.
Boo. This is actually not where I needed to be at all.
Aw, dang it.
I thought it was, but then it wasn't. So we're just gonna run and try and de-aggro these guys, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't mind me. We're running away. We're running away. Ow. That was an arrow. So, anyway,
yeah, tactical throw to not have any one particular real world culture be the one. So I mean,
exactly.
It's a choice, honestly. That they could have handled that a lot worse.
We are going to hide over here. Please, everyone be aggroed. Everyone be de-aggroed. Awesome. Cool. Because there's a comment here from Oi to Soul that quotes it. Here's the setup. I am a settler who's landed on the pristine shores of a new world. I own nothing, so I scavenge and craft. I team up with others and build a settlement. I specialize in warfare or building or farming or manufacturing. With my people, I defend our settlement from rivals. Perhaps I wage war, killing them to take their homes and their resources.
Ah!
So, you know, truly the worst, truly does not understand a single goddamn thing.
Oh, God. Also, a message from our boy Philip on Discord. He says, Blue, I know you saw my message. Come visit Denmark again. Believe me, Philip, I will. One day I will, I promise. I'll let you know this time.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess to talk about why that world is so bad, it is a little bit more complicated than just, wow, the thing is, like, obviously bad. Because it is. But the reason why it's bad is that it buys into this just, like, image of a settler as...
It went poof!
It went poof.
They made a distinct audible poof sound that they chose to put in that game.
But right, the assumption here is that the people that go in, while we laugh at the poor white rabbit, that the people who choose to settle are common folk who do not necessarily... What is that? There's a dot on my screen, sorry, it is confusing me. Oh, it's just this dumbass herb.
Dumbass plants.
So, it just like assumes that they are common people with nothing, just trying to make their way, when that's just not true. Like, the leaders of colonial expeditions are overwhelmingly people with extensive funding, and power, and having already gathered quite a bit of prestige that they are leveraging to enact violence in a new place.
Yeah. Like, if you are really, like, down on your luck, you don't go charter a ship in an age when it is very expensive to do that, to go find a new place. You just die.
Exactly.
You just die.
Exactly.
That's all you could do until, like, the 1800s.
And, I mean, yes, obviously there were individuals who booked passage on said ship as part of an expedition that were from disadvantaged classes in society and used colonization as a chance to gain new wealth and then turn that wealth back to gain prestige in their home society.
Yeah.
There were lots of people who did this as individuals, but you're not the intrepid individualist in that point. You booked passage as part of a broader expedition, and that broader expedition is coming from a place of power.
No one just, like, shows up on the beaches of a new continent like, oh, wow, how'd I get here? I guess I better... It's like, no, this was a choice that you made, yeah. And that's, I think, part of a larger conversation about, like, badness in, like, historical media and historically inspired media, where we can say, like,
yes.
oh, this is bad, or oh, this is wrong. And there's different layers of that. Like, you can say, oh, you know, this presents an event in a factually inaccurate manner. They say this character did this character did not do this, or oh, this battle went this way and this happened. No, actually, it went this other way. And it's very, you know, like, surface level, like, who, what, when kind of things that can be gotten wrong in a piece of historical media. And then there's stuff like this, which is not... Oh boy.
Oh boy, I'm getting comboed.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Oh, wow, love the lag. Love how you got hit 6 times despite the fact that no swords or clubs were coming anywhere near you.
No, there was one guy doing a super combo.
Oh, okay,
so
the wombo combo.
That was expected. It was the jittering down the stairs in slow motion.
Yeah,
that I was worrying about.
But there are things like this where it's not specifically what is physically being depicted as, like, oh, of course there is not actually an island called Eternum. That's part of the buy-in of the game. That's a disbelief we can suspend. That's fine. That's fine. But it's the implication that is made by the narratives and the systems in the game that basically say, oh, well, you're here, might as well go do colonialism and take stuff because you can. And it's those broader implications of what is the gameplay telling you about how civilizations work? What is the story telling you about how civilizations work? What is this game showing as the nature of things that is incorrect and bad? And that's really the second layer that gets lost a lot of the times. And, like, oh, sure, things can be historically inaccurate while still being very grounded and very informative. So, like, my go-to example is Gladiator. The plot of Gladiator, like, moment to moment, narrative to narrative, the raw events of the story is not accurate. None of those things actually happened. That's fine, because the story of Gladiator is basically a pastiche of all of the different major conflicts in Roman history distilled into one narrative. So even though the events and the raw, like, factual, this happened here and with these characters, that's all wrong, but it's okay, and a lot of historians still really like the movie regardless, because what it shows about how Rome works and what kind of civilization Rome was is so completely true to the history that it is worth it, despite the fact that the factual inaccuracies are still there. So there are different layers of correctness and incorrectness, and this game, Eternum is fake, that's fine, but it's the meaning of the systems and the implication of how colonialism works as a cultural and historical phenomenon that is so fucky.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, there's the spin-off question that's been had, you know, we should be asking what even is historical accuracy. And with that, I introduce you to the last 15 years of historical game studies, which that has been literally one of the primary questions that we have been trying to sort out for over a decade at this point. It's just, like, to what extent is accuracy a meaningful metric? To what extent is accuracy a useful metric? And how do we actually move the conversation past this?
Yeah, accuracy and authenticity are two very different things.
Exactly.
And people really like to get hung up on accuracy and complain, oh, this isn't accurate. Usually if something's not accurate, that's like, it's much worse for something to be inauthentic than to be inaccurate, in my opinion. I do not state that as an opinion of Ludo history, but that is a me thing.
I mean, I think it's really hard to say, being one or not being one is worse than the alternative, because... Ow. Just let me grab the thing, please. Dang it, that wasn't what I was hoping it was. Boo. Run. Run away. Run away. Because authenticity is just also a super nebulous, difficult to pin down concept. Because it is, in short, explainable as... the vibes are right.
It's basically impossible to quantify without saying, it feels right. It's got the right mood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly precisely what it is. It's just something that is authentic, has the good vibes for the time period, and those good vibes are based on genuine research. But those are also based on what are people expecting to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much trickier because different people will see different things and think like, oh, this is great because they show the way these buildings would have looked, or oh, this is great because they show the people speaking the language, or oh, this is great because this character is just as much of a diva and an asshole as he is in real life, or whatever. But it is a much more nebulous thing, but in my mind, it is so much more important to focus on getting it right.
It's right there.
Because it is the thing that sticks in the player's mind. Like, if we're playing Assassin's Creed, obviously Ezio Auditore as the assassin, not a real thing. But a lot of the world created around that game presents a genuinely rather authentic vision of 1400s Renaissance, even though a lot of the aesthetics are pulled from more 1500s.
But right,
that's okay.
I mean, right, the aesthetics being 1500s is part of what makes it authentic.
Yeah.
Actually, Polygon had a video. Simone de Rochefort made a video on AC Unity and Notre Dame.
Yeah, that was a great video.
It was a phenomenal video. But it's truly just like intro to authenticity, because Notre Dame needing the spire.
Yeah,
because of authenticity. Right, that is an perfect example of historical authenticity.
Quick, the spire in Notre Dame was not built until the 1800s. Assassin's Creed Unity takes place late 1700s. They have the spire in anyway because, as you were saying, it is such a formative piece of the psyche of Paris, that Notre Dame has the pointy thing on it, that it is in service of the authentic picture of revolutionary France, even though strictly speaking it is not accurate. And a lot of the ways that they show the church, they have details that are for copyright reasons of all things are changed in various ways. So the debate is not just so one-dimensional of, oh, either this is correct or it's not. It's, oh, what does this say? Is that true to the spirit of the history? Is this indicative of this real historical process? It's like a letter of the law, spirit of the law kind of thing. And that's, I think, part of why it's so difficult, because you can't just say, oh, is this authentic? Yes, no. It's vibes. It's so impossible to quantify.
It's
which
just
is why
vibes.
it's so tricky. So some games can do a fairly good job by really tapping into the vibe, and either they do their history right or they just really get lucky and present something in a way that is authentic, despite either having or not having historical strictly accuracy. But there are a lot of ways that people do games to be very accurate but are completely inauthentic. It is hard. Historical media is hard. The industry gets shat on a lot for good reason, because a lot of people clearly don't care. But even among the games, the movies, the whatever that really do care, it's a tough game to play because you're creating an entire world, and any of that can be, you know, analyzed for possible defects. And some of the things are more specific than others, but I'm rambling.
But to turn that back to you and online content creation, do you actually see the same phenomena in your work where people expect you to talk about certain periods or talk about things in a certain way, and that if you try and present a different narrative, that you're going to run into a lot of trouble, or with at least some set of the population?
Yeah, it's no matter which topic it is, there's some, you know, array of minefields that one could be stepping into, but there are a lot of things to unpack, and I want to try and make sure I get to each of them in turn. But on the subject of like the historical content creation space in general on YouTube, there are a lot of people who do a really good job of this, and there are a lot of people who very obviously phone it in. In the middle are people who mean well, but also mess up really badly. That was me for my first like year and a half, 2 years of making content, where I was like, I really wanted to try and get it right, but I just was not ready to do it. I was full of enthusiasm. I had all these different like pieces of historical, you know, content online that I really wanted to emulate. I read a little too much crack.com and it shows. But there were all these things that I wanted to do, and it just ended up being bad because I wasn't ready. I wasn't trained. I didn't have the practice. I didn't have the experience to know how to do history properly and not. And nowadays in the field, there are a lot of channels that do really good work. There's some channels that just don't really try at all and try to, you know, hit the beats and cater to what people want to see, and really touch on the memes and the most scandalous, sensational parts of a story. And it is tempting to fall into that because it's like, oh, you know, say the line, kind of thing. But recently, for one example, I was working on a video about Frederick II, Holy Roman Emperor Stupor Mundi, Wonder of the World. He is sometimes described as Emperor Frankenstein because he did a lot of like science experiments on people, like slightly horrifying in some circumstances. He's the guy who was like, oh, like if I raise children without any like human contact or human language, will they start speaking the language of Eden? I don't know, let's try it. It's like horribly unethical. They belong in the syndicate and the no ethics committee. But, you know, a lot of the sensationalist articles online talk about like that stuff, like the, oh, people thought he was a heretic and this and that and, you know, whatever. But for when I was doing...
No, they didn't.
What?
No, they didn't. Hold up a minute.
The Pope called him a heretic, but that was for political reasons. So in the video that I make, I don't mention Emperor Frankenstein. I don't mention the experiments on the children because it's not important to the actual narrative of this guy who was only serving as Holy Roman Emperor under duress because he just wanted to hang out in Sicily. He just wanted to go falcon hunting. He just wanted to do his thing. But he kept on getting dragged into the plot, kicking and screaming. And that narrative to me is a lot more compelling than haha, look at funny history man doing experiments on people. Isn't that so zany? Oh my god, so crazy. And the desire to present history as OMG, so wild, so out there. I can't believe people in the past were like this is a very clear indication that someone is not trying to actually teach you history, but is instead trying to just get your clicks. Because sure, history has a lot of dumb shit, but it's better to just tell the story straight and not try and wildly sensationalize it. And, you know, the things that are pretty insane will be pretty insane. You don't need to ham it up. Just try to tell a story that makes sense and connect the dots for people, and it'll be a lot better than, but this thing is mean, top 10 crazy things the Victorians did, you know, like, sure, but then you start losing very important context. So I think I kind of lost the question. I was getting pretty deep in the Frederick example, but what were the other parts?
No, I think you covered it fairly well. If I can try and state the point down, just that absolutely there's still the pressure to say, oh yeah, that we need to, I guess, still be very careful because there are a lot of pressures to present history in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And that online content creation can exacerbate some of those pressures of, you know, even if we're telling the story correctly, it ends up feeling uninteresting and therefore unauthentic. despite being correct.
Yeah.
And so, right, that pressure absolutely still exists and is still something that there is no one way to navigate.
And one of the biggest symptoms of this is in historical television and movies where it's like, okay, so we have this period piece, everyone's gonna get really bored unless people fuck on screen for like 70% of the runtime of this film. That's how you get Game of Thrones. But it is telling that a lot of content creation on YouTube and in movies are like, okay, we have to have killing, we have to have sex, we have to have, like, I don't know, whatever the third thing is, or people won't care.
Yep.
And that's dangerous logic, because sure, a lot of people don't really have a reason to care unless one is given, but I have found that just telling the story straightforwardly and just explaining why things are cool rather than trying to shoehorn in like drama into it, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Because when people try to make something more dramatic than it actually is, it shows, and it's a sign of weak historical skills and not putting faith into the history being interesting, because the history often is very interesting, but people get a little tripped up when they don't commit to it and aren't willing to actually like let the history do the talking. It's like, oh, we have to put sex in this, we have to put brutal murder in this, we have to put, oh my god guys, the only way this history thing will sell is if we have super mondo violence against women. Like, all of the history media from the 1900s, holy hell, you guys. So, I don't know, I'm getting, I feel like I'm channeling the energy of Red and just getting angry about
Speaking
things.
of which, she is in chat.
Oh, Red's in chat?
Yeah.
Yo! I wasn't looking, I was too busy going off the rails.
Oh boy, this is gonna go poorly. Chug.
Oh hey, yeah, Red's in chat, look at that. Oh, hi Mom. Mom's watching the stream.
Oh boy, hello. Oh crap. I'm super gonna die. Oh boy, I'm dead. Yep. 53 HP on the dream.
Title of my autobiography.
Got him.
Ooh, nice. I'm trying to think, I had another thought and I don't know what else I was gonna say. Dang it.
We got it. We're good. Map. Recall to in. Please recall to in. Where is in? Please.
Teleport. But yeah, not to like start like throwing shade at other channels for doing history bad, but like I feel like it is fairly clear to see when someone is trying and when someone is not.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be deceptive. But there's a certain, I don't want to say je ne sais quoi because that's bullshit, but there's a certain air in the presentation of a story, of a history, of a whatever, that I feel like you can develop a sense for when someone is selling you something, when someone is putting things that aren't real to try and ham it up and spice it up for the sake of like making it more interesting than they think it is. Because when people put gratuitous, like, you know, gore, violence, and, you know, the Armory Sphere, and like nudity and stuff, it's because they don't think the history is interesting, and they think that the audience will only find it interesting if there is this other stuff in it too. So I don't know. This is me getting mad about historical TV.
to be fair, you know, people be horny is
People be horny.
an aggressively straight thing.
Yeah,
that is historically well attested.
Yeah, true. I guess like now that I'm out as ace, I'm like, I guess I should realize like maybe like other people are just way. Wow, that's cursed.
Now, you've done so much for me in my research, friend.
Oh dear.
You remind me of one of my former colleagues.
Well,
Simon
his hat is pretty
We had
stylish.
bit of
It's a pretty styling hat. That's a large hat. Hat broader than his shoulders.
Expedition into the Amrine excavation of Windswood many years ago.
His foreman
never
is,
returned.
I think.
Who knows? He never returned from the excavation
Da, da,
either.
da, da, da,
I
da.
assume they're both dead. Or worse.
Ace
Okay.
can represent.
Say though,
Redo.
if some bold
I could redo the archaeological dig now.
Red says all sex scenes are written as a personal attack on me. Oh my god.
True.
Anyway,
But
I
yeah,
don't wanna make this about business too much.
another big YouTube question, I guess that's related to that. Obviously, well, you certainly are trying, and I mean, I'm trying here. We're all hopefully trying to tell the story honestly and in a way that is not trying to hype it up unnecessarily, but also get into why it's so darn cool. You can make 10 to 15 minute long videos.
Yeah.
How's that like?
Making 10 to 15 minute long videos it's I mean, obviously there are things about YouTube before the historical YouTube community came into being that made like 10 to 15 minutes like the thing, because in the early days of YouTube, like almost all like videos were like 10 minutes. It's like, oh, you get the double ad revenue if you go to 10.
Yeah.
So there are things about the platform that encourages a certain type of content creation. Because like if you go to TikTok, it's like, oh, it's 1 minute, and the kinds of things that you can explain in 1 minute are fundamentally different from the things you can explain in 10, which are fundamentally different from what your average, say, university professor would explain in an hour of a lecture, or say several lectures over the course of a semester in a class.
Exactly.
So
or a 9-hour long glorious stream of stuff.
oh yeah, those.
Yeah.
Oh man, the
Discovery Tour one.
was a great time. But yeah, so what you can say in 15 minutes is really tricky. And one of the things that I've sort of found over time is that when you set your topic and you kind of are operating under the YouTube space, you're in a certain time limit, you know, like 5 minutes minimum, like 15-20 max. But for us, for OSP, it's like really like that like 7 to 12 is our sweet spot. That's where we like to operate.
Yeah.
The things that you can talk about are fundamentally limited to the topic at hand. So if I am making a video about the history of Ireland, ancient beginnings to Good Friday Agreement in 12 minutes, the amount of detail that I can get into is fundamentally capped right at the start. Because if I spend, 7 minutes talking about the Troubles, and I could spend days talking about the Troubles because it's a complicated thing, you basically automatically lock off certain types of discussions when you enter into the contract of making a 7 to 12 minute video about a certain topic. So there are certain things that become automatically off limits as soon as you're like, I'm making a video about this for YouTube. I can't talk about this thing. Like, oh, if I'm talking about the Normans and I really want to talk about how cool their architecture is, I've really got to limit myself to, a minute tops, or else it's no longer a video about the history of the Normans, or in the case of what it was, a video about the history of Sicily. It becomes a video about this building. And then I realized, oh wait, so I can actually change tack a little bit, and I can do a video about this building, which is the video I did in the Doge's Palace. So when you make a video on YouTube, you really have to think about what it is that you're actually going to talk about in that video. Because if I'm giving a multi-century overview of, let's go back to Ireland, it's really weird if I spend a disproportionate amount of time on one person or one thing or one event. It throws off the pacing. It becomes a very awkward balance. So I have to, assume right off the bat, okay, there's certain things that are really interesting that I want to talk about. I'm not going to be able to get into that. And then I have to find a way to solidify that into 1 or 2 sentences. Then it's like, all right, off we go. We're moving on. We got to keep going. Even though there is, in some of my videos, like my video on Poland from earlier this year, I had a disclaimer that I said each of these sentences out of my mouth are an entire college lecture at least.
Yes.
And there's some things where you feel the density of what you're saying. So I'm just thinking, I'm bouncing around on different examples. In my Britain video, when I was talking about the American Revolution, I said, oh, the colonists started getting ideas. Worse yet, France was egging them on. And then someone commented, the top commented on that video is, France was egging them on is doing so much lifting to explain the actual geopolitical dynamic of France supporting America in the Revolutionary War. So you have to be really strategic about what things you want to talk about and recognize that you're going to speak on several different things with approximately the same level of depth and focus. So it is automatically limiting, and in some regards it's actually liberating, because if I'm making, 1,000 years in 10 minutes, I don't have to worry about getting too far into the weeds of this one king and this one event and this one building. I can just kind of go through and just make sure all the pieces connect. And if I can complete a narrative and make it flow together and make it work, we're good. We're in the clear. But then if I'm doing a video on, Frederick, I have 10 whole minutes to get into this guy and what was going on around his world and what was happening with his kingship and his conflicts and the things around him. So, I don't even mention Frederick in my video on Sicily, and he was one of the most important kings of Sicily. And now I have a 10-minute video on him, because when I set my scale, it determines the things I'm going to be able to talk about. So, I like to take the wide view, because I really like drawing these wide arcs over time, because you get to see changes in culture, changes in civilization, how things evolve. Like, that's really like my bread and butter, is looking at how civilizations grow and evolve and interact over time. And it's easiest to do that on a very wide time scale, which is fun for me.
Fair enough.
I also take a very Thucydidean approach, where I like to think of states and nations as characters in their own right. Like, Athens behaves in a certain way, Rome behaves in a certain way, America behaves in a certain way, and that is better suited to longer form things. So it is rare that I'll focus so specifically on a character like Frederick, but it was able to work as a focal point to view the early 1200s in Central and Southern Europe. So many words to say. You make a lot of choices about what kinds of things you're going to be able to talk about when you choose a topic. And the width or narrowness and depth that you choose determines what you're really going to be able to say and accomplish. And you have to basically accept off the bat, like, all right, if I'm going to take a wide view, I'm not going to be able to get into that much detail, and that's okay.
Agreed.
That was a lot of words.
That was a lot of words.
Let's see, how's chat going?
Chat seems to be thinking that the wolves are quite dapper. I actually need to go to Ebonrock Quarry, not Ebonrock Cavern.
I hate when you get confused.
I know, right? They're next to each other,
yeah.
And one's up the hill from the other one.
Yeah. Red says, that's why it's called a summary, amigos. Yep. Yeah, history is fractal. Absolutely, Red. The more you look, the deeper it gets. I spend, weeks working on videos about periods of time spanning a century, and then you get amazing creators like Max Miller who can spend 15 minutes talking about one dish.
Yes.
The amount of focus that you choose to take determines what kind of things you're going to talk about and what kind of things are way too big to even consider approaching or way too narrow to consider approaching. So it's choices, and doing things at different levels is a good approach to take, where you can say, yeah, here's my video on all of Sicily over 2,000 years. Also, here's my video on this one important guy. I think he's a good window into the 1200s in Europe. So it's about taking different approaches and recognizing, what limits you set for yourself by making those choices at the outset.
Also, chat, you've been asking for the Cleo cameo. One, this is not an overly sarcastic production stream. You may notice we have faces, which is not the usual practice on OSP. And two, we are not in Blue's apartment.
This is not my apartment.
We are in my apartment. I promise. There is no cat here.
I insisted that Yellow bring his entire streaming setup to my apartment and his closet and back wall for internal consistency. Someone Dead ruined my life again by CGP Grey is another good example. It can be endless and still interesting, says Leander. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good video.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been there. We all have our nemesis. If you've been doing history for any length of time, you have a nemesis who is dead and was probably German. Or English.
I was gonna say, is my nemesis the Holy Roman Empire?
Nah, it's usually a guy. So, I mean, for me, it's Jacob Grimm and Dutch Scholar of Religion Jan de Vries.
Oh, de
are my
Vries.
nemesis. Are my nemesis.
Turbo-fascist Jan de Vries. Everybody's listing off their nemesis in chat.
Exactly.
Andrew Jackson's a good one.
AC has a good nemesis. No. See, usually these are guys who made his claims about history. Right? You can say, oh yeah, historical figure was shitty without them being your nemesis. But like AC has Stanford Raffles, who wrote The History of Java in 18 question mark? I don't remember the exact year, but it's real bad. And a lot of the claims in it are still around. And so, right, the comparative folklorists are going to say it's Fraser, the Golden Bough. Those kinds of guys are your nemesis, right? Historical figure bad is not your nemesis.
Yeah,
It is specific historiographer, scholar in the field, had a lot of spicy takes.
That's fair,
that
fair.
refused to die.
And I'll need to do some thinking about who my nemesis is. Because, like, my new running joke is, like, I refuse to mention Crisco Clambo by name. Like, I will not even, like, give him the dignity of being mentioned specifically. So when I did my video on, at the beginning of this year, oh my god, on early Atlantic exploration with the Iberian kingdoms, Spain and Portugal, or I guess it was Castile at that point. And I talked about like all the like 1400s exploration before like 93, before Da Gama and all those guys. I did not even mention Christopher Columbus for explanative purposes. I mentioned him now. I did not even mention Crisco Clambo by name in the video to disrespect him. But that's not a nemesis thing. That's just me memeing on a dead guy.
To be fair, well deserved.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Another great example. Robert Graves. An excellent example of your historical nemesis for a certain watcher who is probably not lurking in chat right now. I have not seen them, but if I do, we will pester about Graves, because Graves.
Message from Tiger King highlighted, Blue, you, Ludo, and Red inspired me to major in classics in a few years and gave me a love for history, mythology, etc. Thank you. That's so great. Good luck on your degree. That's very exciting.
Exactly. I think I have seen Sammy Drake in chat. Another person for whom Graves is the proper nemesis.
Oh, Gibbon. Fuck Gibbon. I hate that guy.
There
Fuck
you go.
him.
There
Fuck
you go.
him.
Found him.
I was rolling through it. I'm like, wait. God, because here's the thing. I have an arc with Gibbon that began with me liking him because one of my professors in college was like, Gibbon, like or dislike what he says, his prose is silk. And I'm like, oh yeah, his prose is pretty much like silk. And I was like, oh man, he writes so well. And I read a lot of his like earlier Roman stuff before he gets into his dumb takes that Christianity is the root of all the empire's decline. And
also
just pretends,
something Eastern Empire.
Yeah, and then it's like, yeah, the fact that the Byzantines were around for 1,000 years, only slowly getting worse, is a sign of how terrible they were. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? The Roman Empire, in the way that like all you like Romaboos gush about it, is like it was only around for 200 years. Byzantines were around for over 5 times that. Sit the fuck down. So at first it was that, and I'm like, wait a minute, maybe this guy isn't exactly the best source. And I was slowly starting to come out of my college, like, oh, starry-eyed, whatever. And then he talked shit about Anna Komnena, and I'm like, oh, fuck you.
True.
Don't you dare. What does the female vanity mean? Writing off an entire half of the population just for the crime of having ovaries. Fuck you, Gibbon.
Exactly. So, you know, historical nemesis achieved.
I need to cool off. I need to take a step back. Oh my god.
Sadly,
going way too hard.
sadly though, this game is very much right out of that particular school of historiography.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Absolutely bonkers. Because, as you've seen so far, there's a notable lack of consequence, apart from, oh god, there's like 17 skeletons and they're all stabbing me.
Yeah, the worst thing is that, oh, they'll kill you back. But
Oh
that's,
no, I'll end up
the only bad
right
thing.
here.
Yeah.
I don't even lose anything if I die.
Yeah.
I think I drop like some cash.
Yeah, oh my god, there's literally no downside to doing colonialism because you can't die. There is no actionable threat and no downside to engaging in colonialism because the worst thing that happens is you just have to put in slightly more effort to do it again. Wow, that is a historical authenticity bad that says something horrible about history.
I just need to find someone
Yep.
to coat the settlement walls in bile-mouth pile. Someone
Hurrah! We get a giant ass hammer for our
entire settlement.
efforts. Our reward for poisoning the people who may or may not be possessed by demons is a hammer.
Cool. Oh my god, that mask. It's so silly, I love it.
The mask is actually really good if I am using a spear. Note what I am not using right now.
Oh, does it have a spear buff?
Sundering Javelin, so...
Alright, someone redeem a gear change.
I can yeet my spear at people and then I do 10% more damage to them.
Nice.
Where am I going now? What an excellent question. Stop hammer time. Exactly. It's a nice looking hammer. It's a dumbass looking hammer, but it's a nice looking hammer.
Yeah.
What's next? I guess we go over. Let's go to a new area.
It's not Mjolnir, it's Swolnir. Oh my god.
Because we haven't been out to a new area yet, and we've got that power. Like we could go over instead of beating up the monster that used to be a Japanese foreman, because Nakashima is not a European name. Spoilers. Which, by the way, actually
Could be a weeb.
No, we're not doing dual stupid hammers. I don't have 2 stupid hammers, and also there's no point to doing that in an MMO, because I can only carry one at a time.
Some silica. The only good colonizer is a dead colonizer. Oh fuck, oh shit, he can't die.
Exactly. But why don't we head over to the pirates of Cutlass Keys and see if they have anything different going on.
Sure. Alright, let's get a little bit away from historical nemesis and try to turn this chat a little bit more more positive. We've gotten our anger out. Let's change tack here.
No, if I had to take a guess, Nakashima in this game is a giant troll-shaped lad. Anonymous cheerer, by the way, thank you for the 100 bits earlier and for the 5 bits now. The tiny spooky ghost bits. We super appreciate them. Okay, hammer until we die, then we're allowed to use a spear. So, time for tactical throws.
Only fair.
Okay, we're going to pin that. And then that is off that way. Perfect. We've nailed it. Because I am not strong enough to solo the guy in the Amrine Temple. Because he's scary, it has like 15 people around him. I have no idea, AC Aspire. I don't know a lick of Japanese. You know far better than I do. If it turns out that they made a Japanese-sounding name, and then
Now's your
did it
chance.
wrong, that it should be Nakajima instead of Nakashima. I don't know, but we'll find. I'm sure between the lot of us, we know someone to find out. Have we researched any Estonian history?
I have not.
Not at the moment. I've got just a hint of it of, you know, like 14th century when Denmark tried to do a crusade
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
succeeded eventually.
Yeah, all I really know about Baltic history is what I know through tail end of Viking Age, post-Christianization, early Crusades up in the north, and then a little bit from all the business with Poland, Lithuania, Commonwealth. But that's not Estonia. It's nearby. It's nearby, but it's not the same thing. So unfortunately, I cannot say that I know much of Estonian history, but as with many things, I would be curious to learn more.
Exactly. That is the nice thing about this sort of job, is you get a lot of chances to learn more. Even if it means that we are, like, trying to speak with authority about things we researched yesterday.
Or the ever popular on the internet, speaking with authority about something I heard someone mention once.
True. Big move. By the way, chat, you say interesting that they have diverse colonizers. I would agree with that if they actually had diverse colonizers and the first 4 towns we visited were not all European.
Yeah.
Like, I know there are some later that are different, but supposed to be older and long lost settlements that are China.
Yeah.
So...
They get points for having it not just, like, be Spain, but they lose points for having, you know,
the rest
all
of
of
it?
the... Yeah, like, sure, if there's diversity, that's neat, but, like, if what the early game shows is almost exclusively just different European colonizers, it doesn't matter if the late game has stuff that's different, because most of the player base will only see the early game stuff, so they're just gonna see, oh yeah, so the Europeans are the ones who did
particularly in
colonization.
this game.
Yeah.
The number of people who you either did the grind up to the end game in the first week, or you lost 70% of your players.
Yeah.
This game is, technical term, a mess.
Yeah.
Because here's a fun thing. They accidentally did historically good once, and that is, in the game, players can become governors of the towns. In the game, characters can also transfer servers and keep their stuff. Put 2 and 2 together, the governors of settlements have been embezzling funds by raising the taxes and just yoink it all and then changing servers. Which is common in MMOs, but just hits different in this particular MMO.
Yeah, your crime for being found guilty of committing money fraud in this colony is we're banishing you to a different colony. You better not do it again. We have no enforcement mechanism, and we're not going to even let them know because you got ahead of us, but don't do it. Don't you do it. And then, of course, off they go.
Correct.
That's what happened to Cortez, too, right?
I
think the king, Charles is like, oi, cut that out. And he was like, aha, I hear you. I will go to a different colony and do the same thing. Understood, boss.
Chat, for all of the recommendations, the answer is most likely no, because there is not a lot of, or have you heard, studied / know about XYZ thing? The answer is almost certainly no, because there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I have spent the last 6 years doing exclusively medieval, specifically medieval Scandinavia. I'm only just rebranching out into all the other places I dabbled in once upon a time.
Yeah.
And I'm currently focusing on, theory and cultural heritage, which doesn't give me a whole lot of time to be reading up on subject expertise again.
Yeah, I do feel bad because I see, so many comments all the time that are like, oh, do this, because people have, very well-founded interest and enthusiasm for these topics, but, I mean, the unfortunate answer is it's like, sorry, gang, if I can find a way to make it work and I've got the spark to go for it, then, sure, but for the most part, like, random topic out of the blue is a pretty tough sell, and that's unfortunately just the way it works, because it's really hard to get someone to like, say I specialize in, in ancient Mediterranean civilizations. My first foray into, let's just say, the continent of Africa is gonna be fucking terrible.
Spoilers!
So it is hard because, of course, like in a perfect world, we would know about everything. We would research all these things because we have so much time, but the difficulty is, outside of someone's comfort zone and home base, it's tough to branch out in too many different directions. So most historians, I imagine, have a sort of horizontal and a vertical understanding. So if my focus is classical Athens, let's say, I should be expected to also know about Greek history, through the different time periods. What was happening before in Greece, what was happening after in Greece, up till medieval period, modern period, you name it, whatever. I should also be expected to know what else was going on in that time period horizontally across different places. So if my focus is classical Greece, I better know a thing or two about Achaemenid Persia. I better know a thing or two about ancient Rome, and I better know about later Greece. But if it's like, oh, could you just like totally change tacks and say what's going on in pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, I can try, I can do my best, but the level of expertise I'm going into that with is slim. So it's a lot trickier to jump in and try to get it right on the first time. So I don't mean to say like, oh no, like suggestions are bad, but it is tough for people to branch out very far outside of their familiar zones because it's almost starting from scratch, and that's a tough process.
Yep, and also spoilers, this is one of the reasons why I am perpetually looking for guests on streams.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this series, Historians versus New World, there's a lot of verses against here because it is doing us no favors.
Adversarial.
But is explicitly, about getting people from diverse perspectives who work in history and games, in game studies and game development, on to try and make sense of this one case study, but also to be able to talk about their thing and the thing that they know about their specialization. Because, yeah, I mean, I know a fair amount about early modern Europe and colonization. I know more than the average person, I would say. I am by no means an expert, and I do not know what the current trends in scholarship are.
Yeah.
That means I'm not going to be able to necessarily on the fly evaluate the claims the game is making. So I'm always looking for guests on. This week I've had actually almost exclusively guests on, because if you check the VODs, on Friday I had the Assassin's Creed Valhalla Wild Hunt seasonal event with someone whose PhD thesis was at least partly about the Wild Hunt in Scandinavia.
Which is cool.
Could not get more of an expert if we tried.
Yeah.
Also, lovely person, dear friend of mine. Anyway, but then yesterday I had the Legend of Tianding, which is about a folk hero from Taiwan in 1909-1910. The person we had on was a specialist in Qing history from a little bit earlier, but we talked a lot about like Qing colonization and sort of the background that the game is then sometimes mentioning but often failing to engage with in a substantive way. But also the way in which that didn't necessarily matter. It was just talking about cool history while playing an absolutely incredible game.
Yeah.
It was such a good game. Y'all, that game rocks.
Yeah, I mean, and considering the way that, like, academia and, like, real, like, in-depth historical scholarship works, it is hard to be a generalist because, think about, like, the average PhD. It's people spending years of their life focusing on, like 5 pages in a book or something. Like, I know someone who did a PhD thesis on messengers in the Iliad. Just messenger characters in the Iliad. Like, hundreds of pages of a dissertation on messengers. And even that was kind of broad. It's not even one message, just all of them. So to be able to be like, it's not even about the Iliad, it's about messengers in the Iliad. So then to like extrapolate that to, it's not just Greece. It's like Mycenaean era Greece and early Homeric literature. It's not just the classics. It's Greece. It's not, it is really hard to be a competent generalist. So despite, Red and my best efforts to really showcase a large variety of cultures in our work, we've got our comfort zones, Greece and Rome, Egypt, Norse mythology, Japanese folktales, Mesoamerican mythology. They're the places that just feel nice and cozy. Classical history, Renaissance history, and it's tough to go outside of that because the research investment is so much more to get going on it.
Yep. Still worth doing, but just like, no, right, we do not make necessarily claims to expertise that have been imposed upon us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we do try, and we do appreciate all the suggestions.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, we've been going for already almost an hour and a half, so we're going to take a short break before we keep going and talk about, pirates, maybe?
Yeah, I've got to
Yeah.
feed the meter.
You do.
Yeah.
So we are I'm going to switch over to some food screen. I'm going to get a refill on stuff. This is a great time for everyone to take a stretch break, get some water, etc.
Hydrate.
We will be back in a couple of minutes. But yeah, if you have liked this so far, spread the word. Let's make the back half of the stream as strong as the first half. It has been awesome. And
right.
by the way, I did see the single soul your cheers. We will talk about that first right after the break. Awesome. And with that, we'll be back soon.
Be right back.
Food. There we go.
Ballin'.
And welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Everything should still be working. Perfect. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that excellent song, and if not, the very long ad breaks. So, if you are just joining us, also the snails. The snails going on a quest up a ladder for food is great. Anyway, if you are just tuning in, welcome. I am Adam. I am joined today by Blue from Overly Sarcastic Productions.
How's it going? I'm tweeting the link out again.
Fabulous. We are playing New World, which is a whole lot of stuff, and we're also having a lovely chat around, you know, how we do history, some of the stuff the game is trying to do, and generally trying to make sense of everything. Right before the break, the single soul used 100 bits to cheer. Do either or both of you have a new historical fun fact you learned today?
Today? Oh my gosh.
Today I don't have anything because today has been entirely meetings for me.
Okay, well, if we allow last week.
Exactly.
New favorite historical fun fact.
I mean, it's a bit older, but my lovely fun fact that I learned about 3 weeks ago was the times that, not once but twice, the Qing dynasty put an embargo on exporting rhubarb, once to England and once to Russia, because they thought that if they did, everyone would die in those countries, and that was a great way to do geopolitics.
Honestly, it's a good strategy. It's a very valid strategy. I'm just trying to think of what I learned from my Frederick video. That's a cool historical fact.
I mean, there's always the De Arte Venandi Awibus.
Yeah, the falconry book. So King Frederick II wrote a book on falconry because he loved nothing more than to go hunting with falcons, and he wrote a book on bird science and bird hunting that remains the most influential and foundational book on, like, aviology for centuries, and was one of the first books to actually take a critical approach to Aristotelian biology. There were some things that he's like, yeah, Aristotle's correct, and some things where he's like, oh, I actually think Aristotle's wrong. And it took some balls to say that in the 1200s. So that book is an absolutely fascinating thing just to exist at all. And I also realized I didn't wash my hands when I came back in, so I'm going to do that, but I'll be right back.
Sounds good. So yeah, I mean, there's a great example for you. Some absolutely top tier takes. Oh boy, there's just so many things out here, and I am not high enough level for almost any of them. Oh boy. So we're not going to talk, you know, too much, or do too many quests in this area, because we'll get absolutely wrecked. But we are going to go out and just, like, wander around and explore and see if anything in this town is not bog standard, like, 18th century Waldland Dove housing. Like, oh my god, this is the most boring housing you could ask for.
This stuff here? All the half-timber jazz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Pirate Enclave, and they're going, I mean, it's good that they're not going for radically different from anywhere else, because that would be wrong. But, like, First Light has the giant ship propped up on the cliff, and the literal Pirate Enclave can't even manage that. Like, come on, guys. See ya, Einhard. So there are some great recommendations in chat, but chat is going a little bit too fast. Kaylee, does Christianity exist in this game? Judaism exists. Obviously there are churches. The Garden of Eden is a thing that people mention. Newton lived. Does
You can
any
assume
of that
by
actually
context clues. It's not stated, but I feel like we can make an informed guess.
But also, the Syndicate, which is what we are part of, thinks that anyone who does anything resembling, like, religion are fools and superstitious idiots. Meanwhile, the hyper-religious faction, the Covenant, who are all these yellow names around, are actually just Protestants.
Yeah, the turbo Protestants.
They're turbo Protestants. And then there's the Marauders, who are knowing things is for fools. We punch stuff. Leander, we decided it was more accurately not other forms of expansionist Protestantism rather than specifically Mormonism, but that is the Covenant.
Bookworm says, I love Newton is here, therefore belief in God has to be here too. I accept this reasoning. It's not so much that because Newton, therefore God, but in a world that produces still Newton but doesn't have Christianity, requires a lot more complicated historical buy-in than it's just the regular old world out there. Because if for some reason there is not Christianity, that opens up so many other questions, and then to still have Isaac Newton, the science guy, is almost inconceivable.
Correct.
You look like
However, not a single person in this game appears to, actually believe in anything that resembles 17th or 18th century Christianities. I think I am the closest because I have a tonsure,
Oh, yeah.
and that is literally all you need to be a monk, right? Right? That's how that works?
Yeah, probably.
Uh-huh.
I know the other trick in the Byzantine Empire was that you'd have your eyes put out and sent to a monastery. So if you have a tonsure or are forcibly blinded, that basically means you're a monk now.
True. True. Are there any deities name dropped in the game? Great
Yeah, Isaac
question.
Newton.
True. The closest we would get is probably in these names: Draco, Hydrus, Octans, Delphinus. Well, Delphinus, technically, minor Greek deity. A lot of Greek references in here.
Yeah.
A Monoceros.
Ursa, okay.
Canis.
Okay,
They're
it's Hercules, straight up Hercules.
Just straight up
okay.
Hercules.
Norma.
Lupus, Perseus, Orion.
Yeah.
They're constellations, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're all constellation names.
I'm dumb.
But also, those are mythological references.
Kelly Coco says, how rich is this town? There's a lot of purple banners. I would imagine that the price to import Tyrian dye would have to be fucking astronomical.
Especially
They
since
probably have a local source.
how do you get out in order to pay for them?
Yeah.
Part of the plot of this game is that no one can leave because there's a magical storm that will show up whenever a ship gets close to the island and smash it to bits.
I also would imagine that there's like a certain, if the energy of the island keeps you immortal, it'd probably be like after you step out of it, like the stasis field like leaves you behind, and then you just like instantly age up and disintegrate. It's like the Urashimataro dealio.
Also, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Turkey Day.
We're going to aggressively prepare our... Look, it's the butcher and the meat tenderizer all in one.
Oh my god.
Perfect. We have now prepared for Thanksgiving. Oh my god, look at how... It's almost pretty when it's not dumb.
It's almost pretty when it's not dumb. Niram says Turkey implies that it's
Americas.
the Americas,
Yeah.
or just a few turkeys got really lost a couple hundred years ago.
Oh no. There's also bison.
Oh, some bison got really lost a couple hundred years ago.
There's also alligators.
Oh wow, that's a big alligator.
Eat chunky.
F3 to fish. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna help us here.
Oh god, he's gonna maul me. Oh no, he's so strong. Actually, he didn't hit that hard. Never mind. We're just gonna stand off to the side, and that'll be fine. Never mind, it's not fine.
He's a thick boy.
Yeah, he is.
That did not do that much damage.
He has a lot of armor.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see
Oh, is that what the yellow
yellow
bar is?
bar
Armor?
underneath
Yeah.
is armor. Luckily, is not actually very dangerous, and this is a good choice of weapon to take him on, because each hit does a lot, which means I don't kind of ignore his armor because it
Yeah.
only reduces it so much.
Yeah. A lot of comments are saying it's a crocodile, not an alligator.
Well, yeah. Your point being,
It's not the historical accuracy.
like, honestly, is that the thing you're worried about right now?
I feel like jumping back to the conversation from like an hour ago, I feel like a lot of people get hung up on the small details and miss the much more like important and indicative larger trends in how the game structures its story and what it says with its world. Where it's like, oh, if it's an alligator and it's actually a crocodile, like
Trash game. 0 out of 10.
Yeah, it's like sure, but like what it says about colonialism, it's like, oh, the only penalty to dying if you fight, native peoples is that you just have to try again. That's there's no downside to doing colonialism. You take their stuff, or you just take another attempt to take their stuff.
Exactly.
That's much worse than getting an alligator and a crocodile mixed up. Every decision is a new opportunity to fail. Thank you, Nero. I'm putting that a quote on my wall.
Oh shit, there's another one right there.
Oh.
He was hiding in the bush, I couldn't see him. Good lord. So, the clearly sensible organization that is... He's level half-eaten scavenger. Apparently the alligators have eaten the zombies. Y'all.
This entire corner of the map is cursed.
We are getting the heck out of here, because I do not have enough food to deal with that. I do not have enough food to... I'm actually almost out of food, and it's a big problem. But my solution is probably just going to be to spend the money that I do not give a shit about in order to buy... Oh, by the way, a lynx.
Oh, wow.
With that roar.
They're much larger in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Listen to it roar.
They just sampled a lion. That's absolutely not what a lynx sounds like.
Also, lynxes are... Chad, if you don't know, lynxes are the size of a Maine Coon but tall. That's it.
And of course, in Valhalla, they're a rideable mount.
Well, yeah, but that was for fun, and also I will... It is my child, and I will accept no criticism of my child. Also, yeah, Sierra. That mountain wild. Oh, shit. That's level 28, we're just not going to be there. But those were pirates. And by the way, Pokemon evolve into ghosts, for the record. Drowned pirates, Pokemon evolve into ghosts.
Huh.
Yes.
I'm not going to question that. Leander says, maybe your individual character is supposed to be understood as the personification of a state, for which singular failures don't matter as long as they find new people to send. Therefore, the respawning may be an attempt to convey how rich rewards can make states commit immoral things. Or they don't, and I'm overinterpreting.
So, I mean, also, one, a really, really good reading. Two, you're giving the dev team credit here.
Far too much credit, yeah.
A single ounce of credit, which is too much credit. Also, Jesus Christ, apparently pirates, I mean, it is the Cutlass Keys, and therefore it's Florida, and therefore alligators.
Yeah, we've just... the tip of a turnip is just hyper Florida.
It seems to be.
Oh my gosh.
Like, how else would you describe this?
Get out.
I do want to go up there. See,
Yeah, that looks cool.
just to see what the heck. Oh, draw distance. Hello.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I hate when the draw distance is visible in your video games.
You can see the the underpaid artist frantically shading in Maya or ZBrush on the mountains in the
Good.
distance.
Spirit Shrine. By the way, there was a question earlier of is this a runestone? The answer is no, but it does have a Continental Grimoire magic circle carved in it.
Huh.
Yes, because that's just a thing that they do. Right. In video games, you use alchemical magic circles in every context except Scandinavia, where you use a Veivisir as a Galdrastaver to do the same thing. Kalinski's Proving Ground. Hello.
This one fights to impress a lover, while that one fights to settle a grudge. Dreams, honing themselves on one another. This is why battle is the currency of life.
My lady, I think you might not be totally stable.
Pick one metaphor and run with it. You can't shove 7 in there and pretend like it's gonna make sense.
Also, arena pit fights with the spooky obelisk.
Oh, huh.
It is truly just an obelisk, but spooky.
Yeah. It's an obelisk that got covered in an oil spill. Oh no, this is Florida! Ah!
I'm telling you, it is not subtle that this is America somewhere off to the side, but I need you to know how little of a shit they gave about the historical construction of N. Oh crap. We're running. That is level 34. I am level 26. I will get smushed.
Billy Warren says that this is the reality where Bugs Bunny is real, and this is what happened after he separated Florida from the mainland.
Oh no. Oh no.
100%.
We'll take it. What?
Just
What?
bad game design.
Oh, is there a war on? No, it's just that the war is upcoming. So they've locked it off until the war starts, basically.
That's stupid.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's upcoming invasions on the other coast too. What the heck?
Yeah, so these are different events. So war is a PvP event where two factions are going to go smush against each other.
Jeez.
An invasion is a PvE co-op event where it's tower defense.
Gotcha.
You're just tower.
Is the top where we haven't been?
The top, I think, is inaccessible right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure because Evan Scale Reach is, I think, where there's the Chinese area, I think is right here.
Gotcha.
But it does
Monarch's...
say 0 to 0, which means we may be able to actually access that without dying.
Monarch's Bluffs looks like that could be like a China dynastic thing.
Sadly no.
Ah, dang it.
You wish, but you know, since I am uninterested in progressing the main plot at the moment, why don't we like bamf over there and then we can run up this way and see if there's anything more interesting. Hello, pig. Goodbye, pig. Really? To get this ordinary-ass pig requires skinning level of 55.
And presumably an implement that is not a hammer.
I mean, just because you can't do it.
Sure, it's not going to be clean, but you'll get it.
Exactly.
Right,
Blunt objects don't cause external damage, right?
Wasn't that
That's a D&D-ism.
Yeah, it's a D&D-ism, is that, oh, monks use hammers because if it's internal bleeding, it doesn't count. Like, bullshit. Alright, let's get out of Florida.
Monarch's Bluffs, let's go.
I'm trying to think of what other, like, historical stuff we can talk about. We had a pretty solid conversation earlier, but I feel like we've hit a lot of the main beats.
We did. Exception is that since we were in the Cutlass Keys, that's where the pirates were. And, you know, the first thing we came in, walked up to talk to the first person, they're like, we need more. We can't be a pirate outpost if we don't have all of the shinies on display all of the time. Which was a choice. That was a thing to say.
Yeah, just leave all your shiny stuff out in the open.
Monarch's Bluffs is a special place. A place where anyone can feel safe and welcome. Regardless of
civilized,
where
at
they came
least.
from or even what kind of person.
Right.
Yes. You
With the last,
understand.
forgive me, but with the last name Bixford and that voice, I kind of find that hard to believe.
Yes, quite.
An heirloom of sorts. Exactly. Oh, I
Everyone is
No.
welcome, so long as you look
great.
and act like us.
Exactly. Because unfortunately, right, there is very little right now. We've been to 4 different towns. And have you seen a single thing?
Oh, it's another player.
It's
I was
yeah.
like, what?
No, it's just a guy. It's a guy. It's not Oh, I don't have any storage in here right now.
Bro, you gotta change that username. That's not okay.
That's not a great one. No. But raise your hand that someone in a colonialism simulator might have a problematic username. Raise your hand if you're surprised, chat.
Yeah.
Dark Archer, what did you miss? A whole lot. We have missed a whole.
Yeah, it's
been nonstop.
It's been a pretty busy stream. We had a lot of conversations about like my experience with getting into like historical content creation and the things that occur in that space and what happens when you make content online in the format of like a 10 to 15 minute video, and what choices are basically made for you when you choose to tell a story in that time scale. And then we talked about realism versus authenticity in video games, or accuracy versus authenticity.
By the way, I just want to watch this guy clear cut. And I'm waiting for it to do the yeah.
You spawn back in. Oh my gosh.
It didn't even animate. I think that one just
It
poofed
just popped. Yeah, it just popped.
So we're just gonna wait here and see what happens, because this is a super interesting thing this game does.
Yep. Poof.
Wait for it. Wait for it, maybe.
Yeah.
Goodbye! Yay!
Oh my god.
Well, that was comedic timing.
Oh my god. It's like, nope, I'm going back. Get me away from that guy. I'm rerouting myself.
Farvel.
Oh my god, they didn't even despawn the model. They just stitched it somewhere else.
And you just yeet it.
Which theoretically means you can clear cut a forest and get one tree's model to basically bop around the entire map if you have enough patience. You can just get it to keep reattaching itself to other trees.
Hopefully not. I'm pretty sure that was a glitch, but that would be very funny if you timed it right to just force one to go boom, 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 boom.
my God.
But yeah, like, this guy is truly just wrecking
Wow.
the entire forest.
He's
at
got the colonial
speed.
mindset.
Yeah, he does. I'm just waiting for them to regrow, because I know they regrow quickly. Maybe this... But I was expecting the ones to start reappearing already.
You might have to look off and then look back. Sometimes it goes back in when you're not looking.
Yeah, but it's MMO, so the whole world should be trying to be relatively permanent.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, point is, look at this environmental devastation that he's single-handedly doing.
He's not. Is he even getting the wood from it, or is he just cutting them down?
Yeah, I think he is.
Oh, okay.
He just gathers. He's max level, so he gathers extremely quickly.
When Burnham Wood comes to Dunsinane, that tree yeeting itself across the screen. Oh my god.
But yeah, he is clear cutting. Full-on colonialist clear cutting. Horrible. Incredibly environmentally destructive, even with the current population of the server of it's like a couple hundred people. Would be immensely devastating, except nothing has consequence.
No.
Right? These will regrow, apparently not quite as quickly as I thought, but they'll regrow probably by tomorrow. And they will be exactly the same. And that is partly, a problem that was pointed out. Like, the game obviously doesn't work if they never regrow. That is obviously true. However, at the same time, given the setting of the game, it forces attention onto that in a way that a different setting doesn't, because a notable thing about colonialism is that it is fundamentally, necessarily, entirely... Nice pepper off of the hyssop plants. It is inherently environmentally destructive, right? Colonialism is, to some extent, about extracting resources. Mm-hmm. And to that, you inflict environmental damage and you inflict human damage. And you just are like, yeah, that is what you have to do. That is part of the point.
Game.
That is a feature, not a coincidence.
Yeah, that's intentional. It's not a consequence. That's the goal.
And so historically, you end up with things and no. even places where there are not previously people, such as in Iceland, spoilers, I have one track, 93% deforestation within
Yeah.
the first 50 years of settlement.
Yeah.
Iceland has a wood crisis forever after that.
And they're working on reforesting,
Yeah, they are.
but it's a slow process, even with advances in technology and even with bringing in new types of trees from Alaska?
Alaska,
Yeah.
Sweden, and trying to stagger them out in the right way. So they've got like Sitka
Yeah.
spruce from Alaska.
Yeah.
Right, but even with all of that, I'm going the wrong direction, aren't I? No, I do need to go up and around, because look at all this coastal floodplain.
Oof.
So we're going to head up to the boat first,
Trader's Hold.
and then we'll go up to the boat, and then we'll go over here, and then we can cut across into a new area,
Sweet.
which is hopefully not... That 0-0 worries me, because that's not a number that's supposed to be. So hopefully it won't be anything
When the
too
game
bad.
is notoriously buggy as this, I guess I wouldn't be terribly surprised.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I think it's a really good example with Iceland, which like on paper is like unproblematic, you know, settlement colonialism, because it's like we didn't kick anyone out. There
Except
was no
maybe
one there.
some Irish people, but probably not.
Except maybe probably not some Irish people, but it's just like untold devastation to the natural environment that caused generations of problems and made it almost uninhabitable for a good couple centuries,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like it. I mean, you know a lot more about this than I did, but wasn't it like resettled pretty intensively by Denmark in the like 1800s?
I mean, they are. It's not recolonization so much as importing a Danish administration on top of what Iceland
Okay,
had.
gotcha.
But Iceland is one of the poorest places on the planet at the turn of the 20th century.
Yeah,
Because there's not a whole lot going on there.
yeah.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
We're fine.
You're fine. But yeah, it's even with with that, it's a very visually illustrative example of how deliberate choices made in the name of short-term extraction of wealth and resources leads to catastrophic long-term consequences. Global warming, take note.
But not in this game.
Not in this game.
Because in this game, you can just maul the environment to infinity, and it won't matter a whit, because the game doesn't make anything permanent, which is shocking, right? In a whole game about leaving your mark on the world around you, and having a thing where players are telling a persistent story, simultaneously you need something where the colonialism is completely impermanent.
Yeah.
Can I make that jump? I cannot make that jump.
Darn it. Also,
problems.
Peter says, check the New World website. Eben scale reach is intended for players at least level 51.
Well, yeah. That's what
And
I
then
figured.
Pastel Punk says, should I have an iced mocha or decaf black tea? English breakfast. If you had Earl Grey, go for Earl Grey. But between the two of them,
I mean, the ice mocha, because caffeine.
yeah. Yeah, if you're, depending on your time zone, if you're early afternoon, go for the mocha.
Exactly, right? We can just do whatever we want to as many people as we want. Also, though, right, another fun thing, consequence of that, is, right, that justifies the existence of these weird landmarks. Right? You lose boats like that, you're gonna break them apart.
You're gonna break them apart, yeah.
Except if you have literally infinite everything.
Yeah. There's so many weird choices in the world building of this game.
Yeah, there are.
Some that genuinely make a lot of sense. Like the no one can leave thing, it solves a lot of narrative problems they otherwise would have had to wrangle with, but like the way that so much of this world works is just so weird.
Turncoat Shaman. Oh. Who are you? Hello. He...
Shaman. With his pet alligator.
With his pet alligator. What the fuck? No, kindly...
Is that
Kindly what
alligator
the...
wearing a jacket?
He's wearing a saddle.
Oh my god. Oh, okay.
I tabbed out of the game. I want to kill the alligator first.
Peter says, at Billy, if anyone could divorce this place, it's the British Royal Navy. I have faith in them. Oh my god. Someone who's in it for 3 years can't confirm. Oh my god.
Say something, dang it. Say something.
Max says, some of this is just standard MMO stuff, which the devs just took in without question. And I feel like that's a lot of it, is just unquestioning acceptance of, yes, this is the way that things are. Sure, off we go.
Farewell. Yeah.
Oh.
So he is, hello, friend.
Let's ignore that.
Right, Leander, I totally get it. It's a gameplay consideration. But gameplay considerations are not immune from historical arguments. In fact, quite the opposite. Gameplay considerations are the primary type of historical argument games make.
Yeah.
And the fact that they aren't thinking about that at all is notable, even if at some point they have to make things impermanent in order for players to like be able to continue to all exist in the game and play it at their own pace.
Yeah. There's what was I gonna say? There's a certain degree to which the game, like, you know, sowed its field by making itself a game about colonialism, and then chose not to engage critically with any of the MMORPG traits that they just kind of took on. So I mean, it is a gameplay consideration that is not like intending to have a lore implication, but it, you know, whether or not it's intended, gameplay reinforces story. And that's one of the things about games, is that what you do is part of the story of the game world, and what you do is, you know, a commentary on, in this case, the history that they're trying to talk about. So when they make a game about colonialism, every single thing that happens in that game is going to be viewed through the lens that they chose to put in the game. So, like, yes, you're right, it is just a gameplay thing. It's just, it's fully a conceit for the sake of being able to, like, have it so that one asshole doing deforestation doesn't ruin the game for everybody else. But there is a point at which the game, you know, made its own bed and has to lie in it, and whatever the game chooses to say with its mechanics is, you know, it will be viewed through the lens of its history and its setting.
Yep. Hi, Caffeine, by the way. Welcome. And to anyone else who has slipped in that I have missed, hello.
Hello, welcome everybody.
Yes. Which I guess does bring us to a question. You know, this game is so obviously bad at history that, you know, I know we have the same answer to this, but to say it anyway, right? Is there even like a point of like pointing out that it's bad at it? Because it is visibly, incredibly obviously, even to people who know very little about history, not good at history.
Yeah, this sort of goes back to the conversation we were having earlier when we were at the weird kind of like pseudo-Egyptian, pseudo-Mayan temple thingy, but there is obviously like, yes, an island in the middle of the Atlantic where there are spooky ghost pirates and stuff, like, okay, like, sure, that part's fake. But even with the understanding that a lot of what is on the surface of this game is, you know, made up, it's for gameplay, it's just, you know, it's completely imaginary, whatever. Even with all of that understood by the player, there are more subtle things that the game says, implies, indicates, supports even in some circumstances, that require much more careful consideration. So the discussion of, oh god, what was it? The discussion of like, oh, the only downside to engaging in taking other people's stuff and basically tomb robbing the indigenous culture, the only possible downside is that you have to try it a second time. There is no downside for stealing things that belong to other people. That exists in a lot of games, but in a game specifically about colonialism, that becomes a core part of the colonial fantasy, the colonial process, the colonial system.
Exactly.
And the game then perpetuates this idea that, oh, if there are people who are there who have stuff that you want, go grab it. no consequences. You die, you respawn, you try it again, you're okay. It's not even that like, oh, the game says you died, and then you rewind back to before your character died. Your character dies, comes back, and tries again.
Yep.
That becomes part of the historical argument this game is making about the non-existence downsides to engaging in imperialism and or like more colonialism than imperialism. That even though we can say yes, spooky, demon pirates, obviously fake, but the message that this game presents about how colonialism works requires a bit more of a careful understanding of the history and a more nuanced and specific explanation that would not be obvious to even a casual player.
Exactly.
So there are different strata of things that are wrong and bad. So like, yeah, a lot of this game is pretty bullshit on the surface of it. Even like a lot of the things that are just like the outfits are stupid, whatever, fine. But there's more deep-seated aspects of how this game is designed that require a lot more, detailed unpacking. That is why it's still important to do this kind of thing.
Exactly. So that gets half of my answer too, because yeah, to sum it up, right. Regardless of whether we who know a little bit about history think it is too far wrong to matter or not, someone is going to look at this and think some part of it is real, and that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
That's like on its face bad.
Yeah.
Because in no way, shape, or form is anything this game presenting remotely attached to anything historical.
Yeah.
Like, the aesthetics are barely hinting that direction, and they come the closest.
Yeah, and
But-
that's something you were talking about on the stream with Javier last time.
Yeah.
Was that games convey authority through visual fidelity. And a great example is Assassin's Creed, specifically with Valhalla, which is like, oh my god, look at this world. We put in so much detail into the world, and a lot of it's pretty cool. Not all of it's accurate, but a lot of it is cool, and it is so realistic in its design that it helps you buy into it. But even though they show like, oh, these buildings are reproduced to like, oh, this is whatever this would have looked like, sure, then you pair that with how the game presents like Celtic people and like, non-Christian Britannia, and that stuff is just so wildly off base that the proximity of what is, nominally accurate and what is, true to the aesthetics of, Viking period, England, Norway, whatever, is so close to stuff that is super duper just categorically fundamentally wrong that it creates buy-in where it, there is something that is correct and the people think, oh, I guess there's a lot of correct stuff in this game, and then they will fall for something that is just absolutely wildly off base, and that's really one of the dangers.
Yep. But I think there is another reason why we should take this game seriously and talk about it, and talk about what it does and doesn't do. And that is that even if not a single person believes this game is remotely accurate, there still is value in actually taking it super seriously and thinking about what it does and doesn't do, because this design is instructive as to what do people who make games, certainly at a certain company, so some subset of the people who make games think is needed for a historical setting to be good enough. And so the ways in which they talk about religion, and the ways in which they incorporate things like a random ass shaman.
Yeah.
Truly the worst
With
phrasing.
his trusty pet alligator.
Indeed. Which feels like it's a gross thing. Well, we'll talk about that in more detail in a moment. But, right, the fact that they're like, oh yeah, that's fine to put in, that's just like a thing.
Yeah.
And they make the whole setting this very generically, like, dungeoneering ancient place that you can explore, and otherwise a vaguely European-style thing. They're weirdly high effort in some points, but for the most part, they're just going like, oh yeah, here's just, like, stuff.
Here's some stuff, go stab it.
Exactly.
Take its shinies.
So then the ways in which they're approaching everything else as part of that is instructive. Like, we learn something about, really, at kind of every level. Ow. Darn. Boom. Go away. Go away. About, right, how do you design a historical world? What are the assumptions people have about the past by taking this game seriously? So the classic example I have is religion, in that right now this game's version of religion was clearly what a bunch of 21st century, probably grew up Protestant, white Americans think about religion, and they did exactly zero additional research. That's informative.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's informative.
Yeah. I think something that Red does a lot on the channel, specifically in Trope Talks, is the concept of a good, bad example, of an example that is done poorly, but is really illustrative of a concept. And New World is absolutely a good, bad example, because it does so many things absolutely horribly, but it is so useful as an instrument of discussion that we can take any just random aspect of, like, take a screenshot of this game and there are like 5 things that we can talk about of, like, what did they do here, what was the thought process behind this, what is it saying, what does it mean, you know, is this good or bad? Usually bad. That is very useful for discussion. So New World it is useful to take this game seriously for the purpose of using it as a good, bad example.
Yep.
In addition to, like, understanding the thought process of what the gang over at Amazon Games thinks is cool about history, showing up and taking stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, kind of thinking, right? I do say vaguely European intentionally, right? The straight-up British uniforms from the, like, late 18th, early 19th century absolutely argue against the vaguely, as do all of the buildings and the everything else. But let me spin up the example as to why I say vague. The first person we meet is Captain Aldous Thorpe, who is presumably British with a name like that, certainly speaks English, and wears a 14th or a 15th century breastplate morion, and, like, is the biggest Cortezaboo possible, because that's the guy whose face is on the cover.
Conquistaboo.
But he's English, presumably. Generally, Captain Aldous Thorpe is not exactly a Spanish name. So,
Yo soy Capitano Aldous Thorpe.
So, I don't know, right? Is that an identifiable place in Europe? No, I'm going the complete wrong way. There's a mountain range in the way.
He's from Gibraltar.
Nailed it.
Oh my god. No.
Okay, we're gonna go down here, and we're gonna see if they've incorporated swimming into the game yet.
Oh, yeah.
Last time we tried to swim, we walked on the bottom of the lake and then drowned.
No. Are we AC1 water soluble?
No, we have breath. We just weigh 5,000 pounds, and so every time we move into the water, we are reenacting Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom in the hit movie Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl.
Oh, jeez. There's a lot to be said for how a single piece of media can codify an aesthetic. I mean, the entire concept of, like, what a pirate acts like is, like, from Treasure Island, where really it's just, like, yeah, it's just a bunch of people from, like, West Country, like, South Wales, like, Bristol, Cornwall. and then you just extrapolate that into yarg and parrots and nonsense.
Yep.
So.
I mean, that, obviously, there is occasionally historical precedent in that some people try to play up their whole act, cough, cough, Blackbeard, cough.
Blackbeard, yeah.
But, generally speaking, yeah, it's all pretty much a film invention.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of more, like, stuff to talk about in regards to, like, a historical content creation TM.
Yeah, there was a comment that New World is the European equivalent of Weeaboo. I think I think it's even more closely, right? Individual characters are absolutely conquistabouts in here. And the game as a whole is very colonialism, whatever that. But my stance on it that I've taken to describing it in overly pithy terms is Ren Fair colonialism.
Ren Fair colonialism, yeah.
Because it is.
Oh my gosh,
right,
that's
a Ren
so
Fair is
it.
a Ren Fair is what's known as medievalist. It's not based in a medieval reality, but it uses the aesthetics and trappings of being medieval in some way.
Yeah.
This game does that, but with quote-unquote Age of Exploration,
Yeah.
with exactly as little depth.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
So it is a Ren Fair.
Yeah.
This is just a Ren Fair that is vaguely fantasy, and also in the worst possible setting to do a Ren Fair for.
Yeah.
If you want to, Demigod, right, feel free to use channel points for whatever you want. If you are enjoying the memes of Hammer, feel free to
Hammer memes.
we can continue with the memes.
Ren
Also-
fairs are fun, worth saying, but that's like, you know what you're getting into with a Ren fair.
Of course,
It's not,
I love Ren Fairs.
yeah, you're not trying to go there for an authentic historical experience. That's what you go to like reenactments for, and those are a whole other thing. Also, tons of fun.
Master Fisher Ruby.
Okay. Thanks, Ren. Have they incorporated swimming yet? Come on.
No. Oh, this is so stupid. I mean, what if our armor's just weighing us down?
No, they don't have any. They don't have swimming.
God.
They just don't have swimming. Which is annoying, because that means in order to get around to... Oh, god damn it.
Have to go up?
I have to go up to here, and then work our way all the way across the road here to get
Gross.
in. That's the only road that we can get in.
Can we fast travel there?
I haven't been here yet, so no.
Dang it.
I can recall to the inn though. That gets us to. No, that's only to. I can recall to here.
I think
No.
that's the opposite direction, right?
Where do I recall to? Do I have to recall to here with the inn? Yeah, I do. I can recall to here and then fast travel up to Everfall. Or I can fast travel to here and then go up.
Yeah,
That's our
probably
best
move.
bet.
Yeah.
That's our best bet. Yeah, but I mean, Caffeine, this game is or the underlying code is 130% spaghetti.
Spaghetti code. Duct tape and twine.
Oh god, it's not been confirmed, but it appeared that for a while the game was client authoritative, which what that means is that if you're in a menu, you are maybe invincible. Because you can
That's
just manipulate
Gosh.
some of that. So, you know, problems. Big problems.
Wow.
Yep. But my hope is that we'll get over into Ebonreach and probably die immediately, but hopefully see a different architectural vibe. That's all I'm asking for at this point. It's just some sort of different vibe.
Yeah, some
Because
kind of
I'm
different-
tired of Euro.
Yeah.
We've been seeing a lot of Euro. I've gotten tired of it. So we can head towards this marker and then turn left.
And even still, like, the Euro they show is, like, distinctly, like, Northwest Europe. Like,
it's
there is no Spanish architecture here, at least from what I'm seeing.
Certainly there's no Andalusian architecture. Yeah.
Yeah. Even, like, some other parts of Spain is a very different vibe from, like, half-timber Elizabethan thatch roof cottages.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, gang, there's more than one way to build a thing. Yeah. I'm amazed there's not more, like, larger stone architecture. Like, these are
Yeah,
pretty
there's
permanent
lots of-
settlements. You'd think people would build, like, sure, there's the ancient ruins and stuff, but
But you're right. It is notable that the only thing stone, despite all these quarries, the only things that are actually made out of stonework or brickwork, because there's also presumably a lot of clay around here,
yeah,
are ancient.
the indigenous sites, yeah.
That is super notable. I actually
Yeah.
hadn't really thought about that. You get some like stone foundations and stuff, but then they build
Yeah,
wooden
nothing else.
structures on top of it.
Because if these people are here for hundreds of years, like, they would put in the effort to make a nice place. Like,
Yeah.
usually,
Super wood.
you know, if you have a civilization that stays in one spot for a while, they're gonna want to make their stuff a little sturdier.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, part of that is, I think, aesthetic, right?
Yeah, I
Because they're going for the, oh yeah, this is a new and dangerous place that we have not been in for long, but also we've been here for hundreds of years.
Yeah, because wooden buildings are the colonial aesthetic. Which, like, you don't even see, like, actual English colonial architecture of, like, the bricks
Yeah,
and...
redstone American imperialists?
Yeah, you
nah.
don't see that at all. Granted, the reason that a lot of the American colonial buildings on, like, mostly the East Coast are built like that is because, you know, you sail out from England and, you know, Wales and Scotland with bricks in the ballast, then you go unload it, you build with it, and then you haul back a bunch of tobacco and spices and, you know, cotton and sugar and nonsense. So you needed something heavy to send the boat out with, so you send out bricks. So since there's no back and forth, I can understand why there would be no... I can't actually... I'm going to walk that back. I can understand why there's no, like, English colonial architecture, because the world-building reasons for that to happen are not present in this game, because there is no back and forth.
True.
But they still lean into, like, 1600s Elizabethan architecture, because that is the code of medieval European architecture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, there was also some good comments. Right, Majora Z, for a game called New World, it's a sort of a shame that there's no visible Mesoamerican influences, which is, if you want to hear more about that, check out the VOD page or type !YouTube in chat right now, because this is the 4th episode of a series. I interview different people pretty much every week while playing New World, and so we had, first week we had a specialist in early modern Spain, then we had a Mesoamerican historian, who, if you are on the Discord, that's Sarcastic and Pixel. And then we had Javier Rayon, the developer of Dream of Darkness, which is a Mesoamerican Lovecraft horror game that is coming up eventually.
Such a great concept. Like, oh my god. Like, Mesoamerican mythology and just that whole culture pairs so nicely with, like, the Lovecraft ethos and just that vibe of cosmic horror. Like, when you take the mythology that has the flayed god and pair that with it,
it's good.
Such an inspired choice.
Exactly, and he is doing some really interesting work to try and find ways to really further academic and game developers working together, which is pretty cool.
Which is great.
And now we've got Blue here, and then coming up next week, I'm gonna have hopefully someone who has an MA working in, like, is an academic working in games and history, not medieval. Oh, we're here.
Oh, we found China.
Sir. Oh shit. He's strong. He's level 32, I'm level 26. This is gonna go rough.
Anointed Famine-Geist. Fascinating.
Yeah, Famine-Geist is what they use in order to say, hey, you know, this is just a ghost, right?
Yeah.
This is what pirates evolve into, by the way.
Gotcha.
Retreating.
Just bail.
Farewell. Oh yeah, fabulous. Amazing, Majora. So, of course you... Oh, no. Wait, that's the first time we've seen a corrupted use a gun. And also...
Oh my god.
Oh shit. We're fucked. Goodbye.
Wow.
We're gonna get up on the cliff here and maybe he won't wreck us totally. Wait, does he have a hand cannon? Hang on. I wanted to... No, that's a rifle. That's a musket.
Yeah.
That's a musket. We're good.
Fascinating.
Maybe he'll get bored. Because he did half my health in one hit, and he's got a skull over his face, which means I cannot fight him at this level.
Dang it.
Did we actually have one for the spear? Oh. This is not the time, chat. I will switch... Oh, shit. Run. Run. Okay. We're in a bush. This is... What the fuck? There's a tiger. What? That was a tiger? Wait, that
man.
was a tiger?
Looked
Hold
more
up.
like a lion to me, but I mean, sure.
We'll run and... Wait, what? Hold up. This is a site. Whoa. Well, this is going back... Hello? Hello?
One thing that I find
Hello?
absolutely fascinating,
Hello?
yeah, no, exactly, is that there is like full medieval English, like again, Elizabeth. I keep using the same like 4 words: Elizabethan half timber buildings, right next to like pristine, like pictured in your head, like Chinese, like gigantic, majestic gate action going on here, with not even the slightest indication of cultural crossover between 2 different cultures within line of fucking sight of each other, that there is so clearly not an attempt to genuinely portray cultural exchange and crossover. Oh, no, hello, old friend. Good to see you again. That it's just everything fits into a box. And even when there are people who are... Come on. Even when there are people who are like English conquistadors, like, you know, Captain Aldous Thorpe, who is an English guy wearing colonial Spanish, like, regalia, that's not actually crossover. That's just one guy wearing a different outfit. He's just wearing a different texture pack. What I'm not seeing here is an actual meaningful fusion of any 2 cultures together. They each exist in their own boxes, and sometimes someone from one culture will wear a different hat, but there isn't any actual like examination of, oh, what happens when you take English building construction and put that with Chinese building construction? What kind of architectural hybrids do you get? There's none of that. There's the English countryside that ends right here, and you go into the forest with a bunch of fucking sakura trees over there. Oh god, it's so lazy.
Yep, boy.
Sorry, you were having a moment with those demons, and I was just railing about bad
No,
architecture.
this is the point.
Ugh, this is why we're here, gang.
Exactly. Oh shit! Yeah, there's our tiger. That Pelwin tiger right there. Look at him.
Oh my gosh.
Chat. Can we get a party sheep for this tiger? Because I think this is the rating that the.
This is party sheep.
I think that is the only viable judgment we can pass upon it, is that we shall release the medieval marginalia of the Antichrist as a several-eyed sheep.
Oh my god. I'm
If you want that emote, by the way, get your subscriptions in. Twitch Prime.
subscriptions. Oh, hold on. Let me drop some gift subs. This is a good time. This is as good a time as any.
Technicolor lagers. What? There's... I mean, this one I'm going to blame my graphics settings on for the 2-dimensional peacock crest.
Oh no.
I have the graphics on low to be able to broadcast.
No.
There we go.
There we go. There they are.
They are screaming like peacocks, but notable that the peacocks exist.
Have the app.
Huh. That we are now on the borderlands of China, and suddenly we have peacocks.
Do I need to sign
So-
in? Ah, dang it. Well, let me sign in. Damn it.
Yup.
I don't have the app.
Boo.
I can't gift sub.
Sag. Chat, you'll have to pick up the slack here. And remember, if you subscribe, make sure you let me know so we can thank you.
Oh, I was gonna drop so many gifts. Damn it! Why does Twitch not let me sign in on browser? That's so.
It's
come on,
bad.
that's so
It's so
stupid.
bad. I am forever annoyed about that.
Twitch.
So, we are almost out of... Actually, I think this is probably as good a place to leave off as anyway, because we are almost out of time.
Dang it.
I know. Right.
We got to the outskirts of China just in time for me to fucking blow my gasket over how uncritically they take the architectural like stereotypes of each culture, because that's really it. It's just
It's all the
stereotypes to the extreme.
It is as superficial as you can get.
What is like the condensed stereotype of colonist, British person, Spanish aesthetics?
Literally, yes.
Oh my god, it's that helmet, and then British. Aldous Thorpe is the embodiment of this game, is a British person with Spanish conquistador aesthetics. Just Oh god, I'm so angry.
Welcome to New World.
God, welcome to New World. Holy hell. Next time you'll have to have me on for when we play, some Age of Empires, because that's a game we can have a lot more fun with.
Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, I think we are not going to be able to get up to town safely. Because that's a long run and the roads are not good.
Eben Scale Reach, we'll double back to that later.
Exactly. I will have our Chink historian friend who was on, Jeremy, who was on yesterday, back for Eben Scale Reach.
It's also just crappy that you can't go to, like, the non-Euro place until you're way higher leveled. Like, I get it, it's like, it's cool, it's an endgame thing.
But also,
like,
no. But also, it's garbage. If you're going to do it this way, which is a valid design choice, you need to make some of the different cultures be in the early game to emphasize that this is a diverse place and not just Euro with some. Oh shit! I'm super dead.
You can't have like one Chinese corner of the map that's guarded off behind being level 50.
Correct.
And have like no other traces of Chinese culture anywhere in this game. God.
Exactly.
And then there's just like there's no actual indigenous cultures anywhere. I'm so mad.
Renfair colonialism at its finest. And this is why you don't do Renfair colonialism.
Don't do it. It's bad, don't do it.
Renfairs are fun. Colonialism is not fun. When you do put them together, it takes all the fun out of the good.
Some gift
and
subs here. Holy
Position
heck.
Historian with the 10 gifted subs. So
thank you so much.
That's
Position
awesome.
Historian.
Thank you so much.
You. Love
And
that chime sound effect.
as we are, I know, it's very nice. Also, the little icon that appears in the corner is also from a real medieval manuscript. No fake art here.
No fake art, only real medieval bullshit.
Exactly. Anyway, in this gorgeous, gorgeous church,
That's nice.
It's just a church in the sunset, we shall leave it off here. So, one final question before we call it a day. Wake up tomorrow and Amazon has said you are now in charge of this game. You do not get a choice in this. Jeff Bezos has decreed it. You can change one thing like that.
I shut it off.
Correct. If we eliminate the option of yeet the whole thing into the sun.
Oh my god, okay, yeah, okay, so I can change one thing about this game. Okay. Oh god, one. Oh, okay, that's a good question because I really have to think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeeting it into the sun is objectively the correct choice, but
Okay,
Amazon wants you to make it, needs to still make its infinite money.
and I can't turn it into not, I can't, like, I have to take the game as it is. I can't, like, okay.
Well, if you want to redo a base, like, mechanic, that's fine, but,
Yeah,
we cannot Final Fantasy 14 Realm Reborn this shit.
Yeah, and I can't be like, oh, make it like a single player game instead. I can't do that. Okay, the one thing that I would change about this game, I would yeet the level gating, because then you could actually have different players explore the map at different paces. Maybe have it so that they can not like choose one of a few places for where they spawn in, because ideally I would yeet the level gating and I would yeet the faction system, because the faction system is stupid.
Yes.
But for the sake of good gameplay, I'd yeet the faction system. For the sake of good like world's design and historicity, I would have it so that you could spawn in on any one of like 3 corners of the map, and you'd work your way into the middle, and that is the highest level gated part that is not strictly coded to any one place. So like if you come to this game and you want to see like Chinese historical content, you do not have to grind for 50 hours to see any of it. That you get the chance of like where-ish you would like to jump in with, whether you want like your Roman guys, whether you want your like conquistaboos, or whether you want to have like your like Zheng He and gang. Oh wow, I love how the skybox flickers. That's such good art design.
Yeah.
Like whichever part of the world you want to dig into, let the players start with that right away so they can see the things that they want to see, and have it so that you don't have to get good before you're allowed to see the non-European stuff, because that is horse shit.
Correct.
So I would rearrange the level scaling of the map, if not just yeet it entirely. Take the Breath of the Wild approach that the middle is the most dangerous part, and then have a bunch of other stuff around on the sides. And then if I'm granted, the second I would yeet the guild system or the factions, because that's just stupid.
Yeah.
It
It's
would be
not cooperative. Exactly. This should be a cooperative MMO, if
Yeah.
anything, not
Yeah.
go be genocidal maniacs to each other. It's fine.
There should not be PvP in this game. It would make much more sense from like a historical perspective if like, and I mentioned this in the comments a couple streams back, but like if there was like all of the like Romance language speaking people like formed a loose crew based on like mutually intelligible cultures and like associated themselves within those umbrellas, which would then actually kind of make sense if you were to basically like pastiche like all of like Germanic speaking Europe into one like hybrid culture. That would actually kind of make sense in the context of like a world that lasts forever. If you land on this island, you would find the people who understand your language, and maybe they speak it a little bit weird, but you'd get like pigeon languages, you'd get like hybrid constructions of things, and it would actually kind of make sense to have these like, oh, you have this like weird kind of like hybrid East Asian fusion set of cultures, you have this kind of like ancient fusion set of cultures around the classical Mediterranean, Greek and Latin, you have these like Northern European set of cultures, you have the conquistador guys, you have all these different people, and it would make sense to have those kinds of buckets if the factions in the game were to group around those cultural affinities and language like similarities, rather than, yes, no matter what language you speak, no matter where you're from, if you hate ethics committees, you gotta join the syndicate. Like, that's just so stupid from a gameplay and a historical perspective, and that's just a change that would be just aesthetic, and it makes such a difference. So
Yep.
that's my more than 2 cents, my like
Perfect.
18 cents.
Perfect. I threw in the big new meme, the Basque-Eternian pigeon.
Basque-Eternian pigeon. Yes, that's it.
All languages will become a pigeon of Basque.
Based Basque-Eternian pigeon stomps beta male syndicate faction. Yeah, anyway. Thank you so much for having me on today.
course.
This was an absolutely wonderful time. Even if I got extremely angry at this dumbass game at several points, I had a blast.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah,
This was awesome.
I hope to be back at some point
Yeah.
before too long. Probably for Age of Empires instead of New World, because there's only so much my gentle heart can take.
Exactly. Don't worry. As soon as I run out of guests, this game is getting the yeet.
He's getting gone. Yeah, you've done your time with Valhalla and are almost out of it until eventually they stop adding new content. But for any of you who are first time viewers of the stream, please consider following, sticking around, because a lot of good streams. Our boy Ludo History does good work and deserves your viewership. A lot of cool stuff coming up in the future. Schedules down below. If you liked what you saw,
I haven't uploaded it yet for this week because I still have to figure out what this weekend
never
holds.
mind. Never mind.
But no, next stream will be Friday. It will almost certainly be Age of Empires 4.
Yeah.
We'll do the back half of the Holy Rome or of the 100 Years War campaign.
Oh, fun. I'll be on vacation, so I don't know if I'll be able to tune in, but I'd like to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you liked what you saw, follow, stick around, consider coming back next time. I like to hang out and chat when I get a chance, so even if I'm not on screen here, I'll usually be try to be down in the comments. It's good stuff, and if you tuned in today, I hope you tune in again sometime in the future.
Awesome. And to close off, this has been Historians vs. New World. I've been Adam. This has been Blue.
I've been Blue.
And I hope you all have a lovely rest of your weekend, or I guess week. It's a Monday, isn't it?
It's a Monday. Holiday week. Holiday week.
Exactly. Eat turkey. There's do not maul your turkeys with hammers. Just eat them.
Just eat them.
Good life advice. Have a good evening, everyone.